Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, and at last I'm here to talk about the Tennessee Titans 2019 NFL Draft. And what an NFL draft it was for the Tennessee Titans. People, I am quite excited about this draft class in Tennessee, and if you saw my first round reaction to the Jeffery Simmons picks, I liked it. I felt like it would have been nicer to have gotten a guy that would actually play for most of this season, and he still could, but I didn't completely love it. But as you take a step back, but you take some time and you see the big picture, and then seeing what we got in the second and third round, I am damn happy with this 2019 NFL draft. We're gonna go pick by pick here, but overall, man, this team is set up, man. I mean, this team is not perfect. We still have some development to do, right? There are still some holes on this football team, but man, it's a pretty complete football team, and there's one position, and I'll get to this at the end of the video, that will determine it all, because this position is the most important position. Almost everything is in place. This roster is ready to go. It's all up to that one position. I think y'all know who I'm talking about. Alright, so let's start though with the draft picks, and then we'll get to that. Jeffery Simmons, the defensive tackle out of Mississippi State. He was selected with the 19th pick overall, and like I said, I liked it on draft night. I think I gave it like a B+ on draft night. Today I'll give it an A-. This guy is ferocious in the run game. He consistently sheds blocks. He consistently is a huge problem for opposing offensive lines. He was in the SEC and he made himself known. He made himself known against Alabama, one of the best offensive lines in college football, in the world, honestly. Sometimes you think that Alabama offensive line could compete against NFL offensive lines from years to years. And he also competed with Montez Sweat and some other NFL caliber guys on the Mississippi State defensive line, and he did so consistently. Jeffery Simmons I really like. Now, is he a great pass rusher yet? No. The good thing is he'll be paired with Jurrell Casey. He'll be under his tutelage, and I really think he can help him become a better pass rusher. Only 2 sacks for Jeffery Simmons during this past 2018 NFL college football season, and then I think 5 sacks the year before that. So he's not a big, sack guy, but he's a defensive tackle. You don't normally expect that. So hopefully you're not expecting like an Aaron Donald that's going to come in here. This guy's mainly a run stuffer, but he shows a lot of pass rushing upside as well. Let's refine his pass rushing tactics a little bit under the tutelage of Jurrell Casey and the defensive line coach at Tennessee, and I think we could really have something special here. But I know without a doubt he will make his presence known in the run game. I did not know that about Austin Johnson. I've not seen that with Daquan Jones. Thank God we finally woke up and we finally said Daquan Jones is not an impact player on the defensive line. He's just not. And we haven't had an impact player on the defensive line next to Jurrell Casey since Carl Klug. I mean, I've never seen one defensive lineman in Tennessee, true defensive lineman, not Brian Orakpo or Derek Morgan, true defensive lineman on the defensive line next to Jurrell Casey consistently making plays except for Carl Klug, who even as a rotational guy would come in and make plays. Other than that, we haven't seen it. Not in the Jurrell Casey era, and that's a long era because he was drafted in 2011? Finally, we're getting this guy here. Now, the big problem with him, or question with him, actually there's two. Let's start with the first one, is his ACL injury, right? He sustained a torn ACL, I believe, in either January or February. Now, if you look at other timetables for other torn ACLs for other interior players, offensive linemen and defensive linemen, he could be back in, let's say, October, maybe November, but at least December. Will they go forward with that, or will they just say, okay, let's just sit him out for the entire 2019 campaign? I think as we get closer and even into the season, they'll make the decision on that. Me personally, I would like to play him, but honestly, I don't think he'll make that much of an impact. I know you can, don't get me wrong, but in terms of what I've seen, and this is very anecdotal, there's not any evidence I have to back this up, but I sense that with these very, interior positions, these offensive linemen and defensive lineman positions, although they can play, they don't have the same strength. They're more rusty coming off of these injuries, whereas running backs and wide receivers and quarterbacks, they're more likely to get in their groove quicker because all you need is your speed at those skill positions, and then everything will come back to you, whereas there's some something if you just haven't been lifting, if you haven't been doing your leg press and your squats and everything and getting prepared in football shape off that torn ACL for a number of months. I think it takes some time to get back to full health, and I think we saw that last year with Jack Conklin coming off his ACL, and Jack Conklin has never been the strongest guy, right? So I think Jeffery Simmons, even if he plays this year, don't expect a big impact, but 2020 expect an impact. I mean, I think we could really have a Pro Bowl player here. And then the other concern is with him off the field, okay? Because he got involved with an incident in which he joined a fight. I believe Fister was involved, but someone fact check me on that. But the point is, he ended up, beating up a woman a little bit. It was high school. It was childish of him. He's apologized for his mistakes profusely. He's regretted this. He said this time and time and time again. He was a young man, and from everything I've seen of him in interviews and everything like that, he's moved on, he's matured, and I expect him to be a noble citizen from here on out. And I said this during my draft coverage. Some of you will not be able to get over that, and I understand that, and that is fine, and that is your right. But I believe that people deserve a second chance, especially knowing that, yeah, he was probably 18 years old, a senior in high school. But dude, in high school, a lot of people make mistakes. Okay, that's a bad mistake. That's a bad mistake. But I believe 18 years old making that kind of mistake deserves a second chance, and knowing that in the past 3 years he hasn't done anything to mess up that chance, he deserves this opportunity now. And that could come back to haunt me, and if it does, that's fine. That's my policy on this, and this isn't a political channel, so let's move on from that. So I love that pick, A- for Jeffery Simmons. And with that said, we move on to my favorite pick, maybe of the entire 2018 NFL draft, but definitely for the Tennessee Titans, A.J. Brown with the 51st pick in the overall draft. Second round, Tennessee Titans, 19th pick for that round. And my goodness, this is what I wanted. I tweeted it. I said I want A.J. Brown in the second round. He was my number my numero uno, and I tweeted this before the draft. My number one wide receiver in the 2019 NFL draft. And he goes to the Tennessee Titans here. This is a guy, 6'1", 226 pounds, that is so comparable to Juju Smith-Schuster. And even saying that makes my mouth salivate. We could have a Juju Smith-Schuster here, a guy that led the SEC in yards after the catch this season. A guy that can play in the slot, can play outside, can play on the left, can play on the right. Is great when he has the ball in his hands. Is great at getting open. Running a 4.49 at the 40. Not the blazing score, but high enough. Better than like a N'Keal Harry, who had speed concerns about. Is physical at the point of attack, is physical at the catch, has a good catch radius, has a good sense of the ball, good awareness, great balance, stays on his feet when other cornerbacks are trying to tackle him. I've seen him break tons of tackles playing at Ole Miss, and that was with a bad quarterback and DK Metcalf playing opposite of him, and also DeMarcus Lodge, a good wide receiver in his own right. This guy led the pack at Ole Miss for the Ole Miss Rebels, having over 1,300 receiving yards this season. I was all for this pick. I would have been okay with him if they took him in the first round, but in the second round, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, dog? And thank you, John Robinson, for finally listening to me, because I've been trying to tell you, your boy, I know he's your boy, Taywan Taylor, he's not good. Tajay Sharp, they're not good. They should be on the field as minimal as possible, and now one of those two men should be cut next year. Okay, I mean, honestly, probably. I'd be okay if they kept both of them, but considering that Tajay Sharp doesn't do anything on special teams, he's probably going to get cut, right? And Taywan Taylor, the only thing that he's good at is running the occasional go route, and he's not even good at that, because he dropped at least 2 deep balls last year. He's not physical at the point of the catch when he's running these go routes anyway. He's standing at 5'11", not very physical, can run some decent corners and some decent slants, don't get me wrong, and hey, he can also catch a nice screen and run for something. But he's been too inconsistent of a pass catcher and not consistent enough as a route runner for him to warrant being the number 3 wide receiver on this roster, and he's no longer. Right? We signed Adam Humphries, we drafted A.J. Brown here. Taywan Taylor's now the number 4 wide receiver on this depth chart, and now I say good. Right? I think he will do still okay in that role. I still think he's potentially on the bubble. He has to catch these balls, dog. If he can go down the field, be Jarius Wright. Remember Jarius Wright from the Minnesota Vikings would just catch this occasional deep ball. They just throw the ball to me to catch it consistently. That needs to be his move, but he has to catch it consistently. If you're just going to be running out there, running, let's say, 30% of the passing snaps, and you can't even catch what's thrown at you while you're on the team, right? So I think Taywan Taylor versus Tajae Sharpe will be a conversation, people. There's a conversation to be had there. I know that Taywan Taylor was a third-round pick. I don't care. It's time for the hard decisions to be made, right? When the talent of the roster ascends to a point, you got to say third-round pick. I don't care. Are you better than this guy? No, see you later. All right, A.J. Brown, though, just to focus on him, I'm telling you, this is what I'm talking about, dog. I was so in love with this pick. I'm still so in love with this pick. Will he be better than Corey Davis? I'll say no. Right, I see some people saying he's going to be better than Corey Davis. First of all, I keep saying this. Corey Davis is damn good right now. I know he only had 891 receiving yards. If you put him on the Pittsburgh Steelers, he would have had 1,200 receiving yards. He's good. All right, A.J. Brown's going to come in here next year, get 7, maybe 800 receiving yards. He's not going to get much more than that. I'm sorry, but he's going to make an impact. He's going to be a consistent pass catcher for this football team. He'll have his occasional drop as well, but you'll see way more upside, consistency, and overall play from him than you ever saw from Taywan Taylor, from Justin Hunter, from Dorial Green-Beckham, and all of the other clowns that we've drafted in the wide receiver room over the past decade. And there's been a lot of clowns at that, maybe even 2 decades. It's been bad at Tennessee. So with that said, 3rd round. And that's an A+, by the way, for that A.J. Brown pick. 3rd round, Nate Davis, the offensive guard out of Charlotte. So this is where I'm going to say I only watched 1 game of him. I can only find 1 game of him. That's him versus Tennessee. And he did okay. He has a pretty good body for a guard. Say, well, Alexei a little undersized, sitting at about 316 pounds, 6'3", so good height. I'm going to have to put on a little bit of weight there. I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. He played right tackle at Charlotte, so he's going to have to move to right guard. And again, he has a body of a guard, so I don't think that transition will be too difficult for him. There's not really much to say here. I think he excels more of a run blocker than a pass blocker, which is good, and that's true for most right guards. But as we continue to really prioritize, trying to focus on protecting Marcus Mariota, that could be a problem. I think you're going to have to learn to be in sync, playing next to Jack Conklin and Ben Jones. Eventually, I do not believe he will start day 1, but if he presses in training camp, he will. Right now, Kevin Pample, he's slotted in at right guard. I think that's the way it should be right now. But if Nate Davis comes in, does a good job at right guard, I'll be fine with it. He can start day 1. I can't go all in and say this is an A pick or something. Most other experts that watch more tape than I did on him said he's a 3rd round pick. We took him in the 3rd round, so I like it. But when I personally watched him against Tennessee, I didn't see anything that said, okay, he's much more than a 3rd round pick, or that I'm really excited about this. He could never play and I wouldn't be shocked. So it's only a B pick for me. I don't see much upside here, but I still like it, and we needed a guard, and we got a guard, so at least we'll need there. All right, so 4th round, Amani Hooker, the safety out of Iowa. Now, this was a perplexing pick, and it's still a perplexing pick. Now, I liked the pick of Dane Cruikshank last year at camp out of Nevada, I believe, and he made an impact, especially on special teams last year, and occasionally in relief of Kenny Vaccaro. But, taking Amani Hooker here, in terms of the actual 53-man roster, what's it going to look like? Are we going to play one of these guys as the backup free safety, which right now we really don't have? And Amani Hooker nor Dane Cruikshank are free safeties. They are not free safeties. Now, if anyone can play, it's Dane Cruikshank, right? He's the one that ran the 4.4 140 back in the 2018 NFL Draft Combine. He's the one that's way more athletic, had like 25 bench press reps. Very athletic. We saw that on special teams time and again last season, but he's just not that very good in coverage. His hips don't, flip well. I really question him as a single high safety. So right now, I think we're betting on Kevin Byard being healthy next season. Let's say he goes down, we have to go out and probably pick up a free safety, or maybe do that before training camp even begins. So I don't know what's going to happen when it's time to cut people here. But I like Hooker the player. I think he has a lot to offer. He plays a very interesting role. He plays a star role in a defense, meaning that he's kind of a hybrid safety linebacker, so he can come down, play a little inside linebacker, get involved there. But we don't really need an inside linebacker anyway. We have plenty of inside linebackers right now. We have a Jayon Brown, who's similar to his body type. I mean, not that similar, but in terms of being a very lightweight potential inside linebacker, they're similar in terms of that. That does a lot of things in coverage. Jayon Brown does a lot of that. Wesley Woodyard, another free-moving inside linebacker. It's not like these guys are very stringent. Now, Rashaan Evans is a very stringent guy, right? That's a guy that's primarily in the box. He's not moving outside the box. He's not dropping back into coverage. He's doing his thing there. That's where he's living. So I feel like we already have our fluid, free-moving inside linebackers. You already have a very similar guy, Dane Cruikshank. Now, Amani Hooker is, much more of a heavy hitter, a little tougher to me. But I just don't see the fit. I would have much preferred a cornerback, honestly. I know that might be shocking to you, but you talked about Butler, Logan Ryan, and Adoree Jackson. If one of them gets hurt, we put in LaShawn Sims, and I'm ready to move on from LaShawn Sims. So I would have much preferred to see a cornerback here. And Hooker can cover, but he's not a cornerback. You don't want to put him at cornerback. So cornerback would have made much more sense to me. Taking outside linebacker, even though we eventually moved on and took one, would have made more sense to me here. Maybe even taking off at the tackle if we are really prepared to move on from Jack Conklin next season. I don't really understand the strong safety pick here. I'm okay with the player. I think he could actually end up being a good player. And maybe if Kenny Vaccaro, although I like him, let's say maybe he shows up next year and he sucks for some stupid reason, then okay, now we have another potential starting strong safety. But I just didn't get the position. I really think we dropped the ball here in terms of the position. I got to give it a B-. It was even almost a C+. In fact, I gotta give it a C+. I'm gonna give it a C+. I just don't know if he'll make the team. I think he will make the team because he has to. He's a 4th-round pick. But I think other positions should have been taken here. All right, and then in terms of the 5th round, okay, now we're talking again as we take outside linebacker DeAndre Walker out of Georgia. And I like this guy. Now, I don't love this guy. People are saying he's going to be a future starter at outside linebacker. I'm not buying that. But he's a very, nifty guy, finds his way around the edge, works hard, had an impact for Georgia time and time again, good effort on plays, a consistent motor. I like a lot of that I see within him. I just don't see a starting outside linebacker. A little bit undersized at 6'2" and doesn't display great strength to me, but he's very ferocious around the edge. But if he's not coming harsh around the edge, he's not going to get to you. He's not going to come through the offensive line, diagnose the gap and make plays consistently. He can do it occasionally, but not enough for me. So I don't see a starter here, but I think he's going to make an impact. But I think we could have used a starter, at least an eventual starter. I don't think we got one here because we have Cameron Wake, who's going to start this year at this point. Unless we go and we sign, we can't even sign Ezekiel anymore. He's gone. So I don't know. He's starting, right? Wake is starting, and we're going to have Landry starting, and Landry's going to do fine, and Walker's going to come in and make the occasional play, and Camilo Carrera is going to make the occasional play, and Sharif is going to make the occasional play. But will our pass rush be consistent enough? That's the question, especially because Jeffery Simmons ain't going to be here for at least most of the season, or at least half of the season. So that's the question, but I still like the pick. This is a 5th round. If you get a guy that's probably going to make the team, I like it. So you still get an A from me. This is an A pick, right? If he comes in and he plays, that's an A. 5th round pick playing, congratulations, you've won, right? So we won here, but just I don't agree with these people saying he's a future starter. I didn't see that. And then 6th round, David Long, the linebacker out of West Virginia. Now, this was an interesting pick as well. I think he's going to play outside linebacker for us. But he's undersized. He's about 5'11", 230, very similar build, and placed out to Devin Bush, who's playing inside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, I'd like to see him at inside linebacker, but we ain't got room for that. We already got Jayon Brown, Wesley Woodyard, Rashaan Evans. Now, yeah, we could use another one, so go ahead and put him there. But even Camilo Correa will come inside and play inside linebacker from time to time. You know what? He's a football player. I saw toughness from him. I saw veracity. I saw tenacity. In fact, I think he might end up being a better player than DeAndre Walker. The only problem is he's just so undersized. He's going to really have to make a lot of money standing up at inside linebacker. Do we have roles for that? I don't know, but I think he's going to make a big impact on special teams. I think he's nifty. I think he's smart. I think he has a good IQ. I think he's going to come in here and do a lot of things for us. So I like the pick. I still felt we could have used a corner here. To be quite honest and frank with you, I would have been fine with the tight end as well. But we took a linebacker, and it's a linebacker that I do like, so we'll get an A- here for David Long. Right, so there you go. Those are my thoughts on the 2019 NFL draft class. And as I said before, look, I love this draft class. I really do. I have, some problems, some things I would have preferred, but dude, I love this draft class. Especially we're talking about Jeffery Simmons and AJ Brown. Wow. I mean, seriously. And if Nate Davis can come in and be a starting right guard, wow. I mean, that's all we need. If we can get 3 stars, wow. I mean, our team is so damn set. And it's not perfect. Let me be clear. This team is not perfect, but it is more filled, okay? There are less holes on this team than there are the Indianapolis Colts, than there are the Houston Texans, than there are the Seattle Seahawks, than there are, honestly, the New England Patriots, than there are other playoff teams. But we have a worse quarterback right now. At least worse quarterback play. It's time, boy. I've been defending you since day one, Marcus Mariota. You got enough now, dog. If you can't get this done, it's on you now. It's all up to you. You got to play 16 games. We got to get to the playoffs, and we got to at least win a playoff game to me. At least win a playoff game to me, because this team is stacked. If you put Andrew Luck on this football team, this team wins 12 games. If you put Deshaun Watson, who I don't love, on this football team, this team wins 11 games. If you put Russell Wilson on this football team wins 13 games. Honestly, can you imagine Russell Wilson with this defense that was ranked top 10, put Derrick Henry behind him, but give him wide receivers such as Corey Davis, a returning Delaney Walker, this offensive line with Taylor Lewan leading the freaking way? I mean, come on, dog. It's time. This is enough talent. The quarterback position must be solved this season. If it is not solved this season, it's time to move on, and I'm calling for drastic measures, because the only way we're going to get a quarterback next year is through drastic measures. Now, we're going to discuss that at a later date. But for today, Marcus Mariota, this is it, dog. I mean, seriously, we got to make the playoffs this season, win a playoff game, and in 2020, we need to be Super Bowl contenders at least. The team is stacked. We're ready to go. Let's go, Tennessee Titans. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.